Hello and welcome to Gearrock Farms. In today's video, we're going to be putting on a set of tire chains. We're going to show you how we do it. My father, he's going to talk about his different set of chains for different types of tractors and the benefits of each of them and the way we go about putting on tire chains. I hope you guys enjoy.
These here chains, I bought these on an auction like 25 years ago. And you can't even buy these kind as far as I know. I haven't seen them anywhere, but they got these double rings that they can turn. They're not always in the same spot, and they're the best wearing chains I've ever had. And on this hilly farm, we would never go without chains. If it rains or snows even a half inch, we're already at the point where we can't, even with the four-wheel drives, we're sliding all the time. So we just automatically put them on in the shop where it's dry, and that's a bias tire. And by far, they'll go way further than any radial tire in the snow and ice. The radials will go further in the dirt and the mud, and they'll wear better and everything, but these will wear fast. But this short bar, long bar, and with these chains on are my best. And we have chains for the front of this one too. I'm thinking I may have had to take the fenders off. It's been a long time since I put them on. We have to be careful because if they fall off, they could bend your tie rod. But we've had one time we had to use them on the front of a four-wheel drive because it was so icy we couldn't back our feet in by the barn. So these I bought brand new. And I think they call this Perilous chains, which means they got, instead of just a chain going across, there's some pieces that go this way to hold it on top of the lugs. I've seen them where they always crawl into the lugs. They're cheaper, but they're still better than no chains. But you can already see how these are worn down. I bought these new in 03 or 04. I think 04. The tractor we bought in 03. And these are radial tires, and again, I don't care, four-wheel drive, we get a half inch of snow and it's gonna stay more than a half a day, we automatically just stick the chains on. And then here, we had to kind of alter things a little now. Right here, you see on my fenders, if you go down the road, you get more than 10 miles an hour out of her, and it's better to go a little faster, it's smoother. Otherwise, you're vibrating in there. Well, you get faster, then the centrifugal force brings these chains out, they start nicking the fenders. So we have to kind of keep readjusting them. So what I do, and I've done this with my other ones too. Any set of chains I got to put on all the time. I'll count the lengths back from the start, and I'll write it somewhere in my owner's manual or something. It makes it a lot easier. So when you stick these on the next year, you figure you got a little bit of tire wear. You may have to start out further back, and then as you drive it around a little while, some of the rust in the joints and everything kind of fits better, and then you finally get them back where you were, or even a length further. And I had to take this apart actually to make it so that they wouldn't hit the fender. This is our manure tractor, so this is the one that needs to go down the road. The other ones don't. They're just around the yard more. They don't have to be as tight. And the fender, we looked at buying tractors where we would have bought them, but there was maybe an inch or two under the fender. But there was no way we were going to put chains on that. And in this yard, if we have way too much experience, we just know. Wintertime, we would have to park that tractor. Here's some extra pieces. And I think it's where I bought chains that were maybe too big for the tractor, and I ended up taking out pieces. I really like these. If you ever find a set like this, them will last you your career. Then we got these kind. When I was a boy, my dad had these kind. And probably the most aggressive chain that I've ever had on it, it was on a M. A Super MTA or a straight M, but like to plow deep snow, they're great. To drive around the icy yard, you feel like you're driving a bulldozer. They're so rough, but they're a very good chain, very hard. What we do is like to lay them out, make sure they're not tangled up. We have to throw them on a pile. Now these are pretty good ones too. These were out already when I was a kid, and they got this extra little piece in here. They don't just have it here. They have it there, and that's the first piece to break off. And again, these things can't roll, so you end up wearing in one spot all the time. And then these here connectors, I found those to be some of the nicest ones. I've never seen these bent up. I've seen some other type that are made out of like a strap of steel, and they come against something. They like to bend. We've had to repair these a few times. Now I found here, like here's one, where these would come loose. Let's say you were spinning someplace and some really deep stuff, pulling something hard, and these would end up coming loose, and next thing they're flying and they're hooking the fender, but then you could never get them to stay shut, so we welded it. So we do whatever you can to repair them. I mean, there's one that's the same. It doesn't pay to go with them just kind of half good, because you'll always regret it. They'll hook the fender or the lights or something, and they'll damage more stuff than it's worth. So if you put the right time in and you got your pattern figured out, you can make life so easy by having this stuff ready to go. So anyway, so you lay them out, and you always want your, so this would be the side onto the tire, so your loop goes around so that faces the other way. We're gonna get them both out, opened up. So when we bring the tractor around, we can pretty much grab them and throw them on the tire. It's better to put them on in the shop while they're dry, instead of dragging them out in the snow and the ice. So anyway, here we go. So we're gonna go fetch the tractor. So now this tractor's pretty heavy. She's full of water or fluid. We got what they call rim guard. It's some sort of beet juice that's inside these tires to add weight. I'll swear by that. And today earlier we were trying to back up an empty old manure spreader trailer to move some hay. Very light machine to back up in by the barn, a little bit of slope, and we couldn't get there. Because there's no chains, it's just so slippery.
This is our 1650 Oliver. It's a gas. It's very similar to the one that I had. I had a 1550, but yeah, this is the one we're putting chains on today.
So if I've seen guys do it where you could get a piece of twine or something and shove it through the hub. And on this tractor, there's really no real place to push it through. There's a few holes here that must be for the weights. You could fish a piece of twine through. You lay them down behind, you tie it to the ends, and then you drive ahead slowly and they slowly come up on. That's a good way to do it when you're by yourself or the tires are this tall. Those are the worst kind. We're going to do it the way we do it when we got help. Here. You kind of got to, no matter how you do it, you got to keep stopping and working them down in onto the tire. And it doesn't seem to matter. You take a few shortcuts, you always end up just taking more time to straighten things up. If you have somebody with, you can have them hold it. When I pull ahead, it helps keep it under the tire better. So I always like to have it so we're in the back. When you get it on the other side, sometimes you got the step there, the battery box. There's some platform, there's always something in your way, but they have this hook on here. You can, if you can't quite reach, you can still temporarily stick it in somewhere so it's somewhat attached so you can still work your chains. And then you get the idea that it's so much nicer where you're dry and you're not crawling around in the snow. I mean, you could put, like I got chainsaw chaps, you could put them on. It's like an industrial apron and but your gloves get wet. Yeah, so we get that one tied. And I've had it where sometimes they got to drive a whole revolution again to get them worked in. So this tractor will just be around the yard. We don't plan on using it down the road, so as these things fly, they might almost hit the fender if we get over 10 miles an hour, but we don't do that here. So now here, this is extra linkage, and there must have been, I think, another cross member that went in here, and I maybe took it out. I got some extra parts hanging there that you could put in there. Let's say you wanted to fit them to a bigger tractor, but I always tie it back and I get one of these quick connectors for that. So in case the tire gets wore down more, you can always tie this back so this piece isn't flopping, and especially on the inside, it's not hitting your lights. We're going to turn it around instead of drag it around the other side, but we're going to just move the tractor instead of the chain. Get these things all fitted. After we drag it around a while, we may have to readjust them, and that's perfectly normal. It's not, but you always want to do that instead of just drive them loose. I've seen guys do this thing where they put some sort of bungee cords and stuff to keep them more stable, but that stuff ends up hooking on things and falling off, and you lose them in the snow. Let's see, we're looking like we were probably over here last year. You know, this is all extra, and that would end up hitting up here if I didn't have it tied down. But I don't like to cut them off because we could put them on a different tractor. And you don't have to add on again. Oh my God, I think we got this one. This ain't gonna go too bad. Maybe this one. See, then you can do that. Get a little tension on it. I like these type. I've never seen these fail. We've had other ones that undo themselves, and is that interesting when you're out in the field someplace in some real deep snow and it lets go. But you learn to put them on right there. And there we are. We're set for winter. We're just like a skidder in the woods now.
All right, so we got the chains on the Oliver. It's ready to get to work this winter and stay planted on the ice. One thing my dad kind of touched on, the weight he has in the back of this tractor with fluid in the tires. I gotta say, you know, chains really help a lot, but if you don't have the weight there to keep you planted on your back tires that you put your chains on, man, that makes a world of difference too. So what I'm trying to get at is more weight in the back, the better when it comes to keeping traction and using your tire change to the best of their ability. Especially if you're using like a loader tractor to plow snow. You're typically gonna be really heavy in the front end because of the loader. So if you put tire chains on, I recommend putting some weight back there too, whether it's the form of fluid in the tires or actual weights hanging off the rim or the rear of the tractor. It really helps a lot to have some extra weight in the back. But that is it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope some of you might have learned something. Leave tips down below if there's a certain way you guys like to do it. We're glad to hear about it. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. One last thing for you guys that watch on a regular basis. We got that project done. All that's left to do is to paint those boards in the summertime.